In this Power City weekly live stream, we're going to be looking at the lay of the land of crypto and DeFi at the moment, and also giving you some more DeFi safety tips. But with no further ado, let me bring up my partner in crime, Mr. Just Ask Jesse in the house.
Hey, y'all.
Good to see you, man. We've had a little bit of a, well, I'd say a little bit of a pump in contrast to the rest of crypto, right? In the Pulse chain ecosystem in the last couple of days. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so Pulse Chain has gone up significantly, some of the tokens on Pulse Chain. Well, meanwhile, other things have gone down. It seems like maybe the same amount. So we've seen some 40, 50, 60% increases in value on some tokens on Pulse Chain. And Richard, the founder, has been making some pretty bold and strong moves across some of his own holdings, which I think, if nothing else, tells the community that he's still doing things. What his intentions are, there's lots of speculation in the community. And some of the moves he's making, could be temporary, but he could do these moves over and over. So one example of that would be, it appears he staked all of his hex, right? Which
both chains, right?
Both chains, right? Which, so in the community, you hear a bunch of people say, "Oh, that ruined the payout." You know, the hex staking, right? You get like 1 or 2 hex, maybe 2 hex or something per T share, which is like not very much at all, right? Well, now before, what was it? It was, you could stake and you can get 30, 36 or whatever % yield, and now you're getting barely any yield. What does that do to the community? Well, for one, the biggest holders, or everybody, not just the biggest holders, because the smallest holders all doing it too equals big holders. If you get a bunch of people with little stakes, what's the difference between that and one person with one big stake? But, the stakers will have a hard time doing rolling stakes now, where they're just doing short month-long or 2-month-long stakes, and then unstaking, selling the yield, and then restaking. I've heard that, that happens a lot with some particular wallets, and it's going to be a hard time for those people to do that again. So now that, Richard has stepped in and he's absorbing all that inflation, so the inflation is now less, significantly less, and it's very hard to do that. And if you want a decent yield, you're going to have to buy hex. You're going to have to buy more of it, right? A lot more of it, and still not even get close to the payouts you were getting before. So, people race off and they say, "Oh, this huge amount of hex is staked. The yield's gone down. I kind of like the yield. Let me buy some hex." People race off and they buy some more hex, which offsets those stakers, by the way, who are who are mad or frustrated because they're getting less hex payout. Well, it offsets some of that frustration those guys have when they're, "Oh, okay, we're getting less, but it's worth significantly more," right? So the reasons why he's done any of that, who knows, right? There's so much speculation. There's even speculation what happens if he loses a court case and a judge orders him to give up his hex, and he doesn't have any hex. He says, "Oh, I don't have any hex. It's staked. Would you like me to unstake it?" And then the act of unstaking it does what? It burns it all and pays out a huge payout to the existing stakers. And then to another OA address, but it's just much harder for somebody else to some would say it's less risk by him staking it all, right? So who knows the reason why? But more importantly than why, because you can speculate in any direction, is he's showing lately that he's still doing things. So he's doing things with his tokens, right? People get excited. They say, "Oh, he's still around." he's building new platforms, for people to play with and launch meme tokens on and whatnot. And he's still tweeting. So the people who say that he's run and he's disappeared and he's ghosted the community, well, that's not entirely true. He's still around. He may not put a camera on his face. Nobody really knows why. Even if you don't want to know his location, like he can do that and still show his face. He did that at Christmas, with a pre-recorded thing. But that's really the only thing that people might be longing for is he's not doing every other day streams with the community, but he certainly is there and he's doing things. He's building, he's making actions with his coins, he's communicating on X, and he is present. So when people get that same vibe, oh, he is present, they start buying, and the value of these things goes up. So you see Pulse X is up 60 some percent, Ink 165%, and Hex is up 56%.
I mean, I think you're right. People, if you compare obviously to like 4 years ago, say 2021, 2020, 2019, even, when Hex was created, he was streaming a lot, right? And everyone became used to him streaming every day, every other day, around certain times. And then obviously that's tapered off. But like you said, he's still doing stuff. We saw those big stakes on both chains. Obviously the community's acted well to it because we've seen, 50, 60% increase in some of the blue chips over the last 7 years. And also, if you hold Hex and you want to take some profits, you don't have to, because you could also use Flex, right? You
can also use Flex. So for those of you that miss that historical Hex yield from staking, there's other ways to accumulate Hex. So Flex protocol allows people to take loans against their Hex. And those same people or other people can park into the stability pool and they can earn a yield. Sometimes some Hex in there. Sometimes, and then always an emission of Flex tokens. But for those that purchase Flex tokens, you can stake those and you'll be receiving Hex tokens and Hex DC tokens, right? So there are other places to earn Hex. So for those that miss the historically high yield, maybe go explore those other options. Go look at Flex protocol and say, oh, wow, there's other places to play with this Hex and earn more of them, just like I used to over on the Hex staking platform.
In fact, in the POWERCITY ecosystem, we've talked about this before, but you can get even the same tokens in 2 different places, right? So if you're staking via maybe Flex or in the protocol, and you're staking in the core too, right? These are also being fed to the core.
Yep, so, all of our protocols have, not all of them. Portal X is a tool, but typically our other protocols all have some sort of or multiple staking mechanisms.
Yep. And as we can see now on the core, I've just zoomed in here, we have 8 tokens that you can get as rewards: PXDC, a PLS, Wrap PLS, PLSX, Loan, USDL, HexDC, Hex, and Earn. So quite the mix of tokens on Pulse Chain. And talking about utilities to Pulse Chain, we haven't talked about this much, apart from Twitter and a video that I put out, but we've also we brought Safe Wallet to Pulse Chain, right? Maybe we could tell some people about this and what it does and how it makes it a lot safer rather than the old school, just having your MetaMask or your seed phrase.
Yeah, so typically there's a couple ways to store the keys to your crypto. Think of any wallet as simply an interface, and then you have a seed phrase that is the key to unlock, to allow you to do transactions on your wallet addresses, and you use a wallet such as MetaMask or Rabby or something as the interface where you can see all that being done. You can conduct that all visually, right? So there's, what some would consider the least safe way would be to store your seed phrase inside of that same interface, inside of MetaMask or inside of Rabby Wallet. All right. So the keys to your castle are in the same place as the graphical user interface, where it's all in one single place, and that can be quite dangerous, right? Some people say that's the riskiest, because if somebody gains access to your device, whether they hack into your computer or it's your buddy who simply sees you type the unlock code to your computer, now he's sitting at your computer, he opens your MetaMask, your seed phrase is already in there, he does a transaction, signs it, and all your crypto's gone. And this has certainly happened. It's happened in the community. We've seen this. We've heard people telling their stories about all their crypto going missing. And when you start questioning what platform are they using, who has visited your house lately, who else has access to your computer, did you click any links, so on and so forth, you find that these soft wallets, which is, when I say soft wallet, it's the same interface as you would typically use with a hardware wallet, but it's the action of storing your seed phrase inside of the interface that you're choosing to use. That's one method, though, right? Done correctly, it can be safe. You can use, for example, encrypted folders on a very secure device, such as a Graphene OS, Graphene operating system, cell phone, for example, where you have like encrypted folders which are only accessible through very difficult means for people to crack through into your encrypted side of your phone. And you can have these hidden apps like MetaMask, buried inside of your device that are completely inaccessible. And some devices even will have like a burn mechanism where if somebody tries to break into your device, it literally burns the chip on the inside, right? Or the chips on the inside, right? So there are certainly ways to use a software wallet in a very, very secure fashion, but that's complicated for most people, right? So then you step up to the next level of security, and you hear a lot of people talking about these things called hardware wallets. All that is a little key fob looking device, and your seed phrase is inside of there. The thing that signs your transactions is inside of that, and you assign some sort of PIN code to those. In some cases, you have some biometrics on some of them, right? So it may scan your eye or your fingerprint, or even a combination of those. And you can plug these things in or Bluetooth connect these things to your interface, to your MetaMask, to your Rabby wallet, or to whatever else. And when you go to sign a transaction, it requires you to use that hardware wallet first. There's different levels of security with these hardware wallets. So you've got these ones that I said you have to plug into your computer, but you also have some that are QR code based, that never have any sort of cable at all connected to your interface, to your computer or to your phone or whatever, right? Basically, when it's time to sign a transaction, a QR code would appear on your computer, for example. You take your device, you scan that QR code, you sign the transaction on your device, it will generate its own QR code. You turn that around and face it to the camera of your computer. Your computer scans that and recognizes, yep, you just signed the transaction using the proper, seed phrase, the proper seed phrase, and the transaction then processes through the interface and onto the blockchain, right? Those devices are QR code hardware wallets. And for those that fear, being attack through the airwaves, or somebody hacking into their Wi-Fi connection or something like that. Some people prefer these QR code wallets because they never get connected to anything. They're never connected to the internet. There's no Wi-Fi built in. There's no Bluetooth built in. And there's no wire. There's not even wires, right? It's all QR code based back and forth, right? So anyway, hardware wallets are the most common method for a good amount of security for your crypto. Well, step that up just a little bit more. Oh, let me back up. With hardware wallets as well, typically with things such as Treasure, it's a little bit more difficult with Ledger, but with things like Treasure or Keystone Wallet or some other wallets, you can actually access hidden wallets as well, right? So a hidden wallet is something that the only way to access those subsets of wallet is with an extra hidden phrase, right? So you obviously have your seed phrase inside of your device, right? You unlock the wallet. The interface will show you all your set of wallets. Okay, and you do your transactions like normal. But let's say you have some other crypto you want to keep very, very secure and completely separate. Okay, you can make these things called hidden passphrases, which you put in your device in addition to the regular PIN code that you have. Okay, maybe your hidden passphrase is something like the sky is blue. Okay, and you have every other letter capitalized, and you have some exclamation points in there or something, right? Maybe that is your hidden passphrase, and you remember that, and you want to access your secret wallets, right? You put in your hidden passphrase. Now you can access those secret wallets, and you can do that as many times as you want with as many secret phrases as you want. You can have hundreds or thousands of secret hidden wallets. In fact, this method, you could devote a whole episode about how hidden wallets work. Some will even argue, and even myself will say, I think that the hidden wallet method with things like Treasure is one way to actually protect your crypto, and from a couple things, from your house burning down, from people clunking you over the head and trying to steal your crypto. Well, you can actually open up your hardware wallet and they can see your crypto wallets, but only if you tell them your hidden passphrases will they ever access those wallets, right? So now imagine this. Everybody has to keep a backup copy of their seed phrase, right? Some people write it down on a piece of paper. That's not the best method per se. Some argue you need to stamp it into metal. Yeah, and then you need to store that metal very securely. Well, what happens if you're storing that and your house burns down? All right. And your hardware wallet and your seed phrase were in your house and your house burns down. And now you're absolutely screwed. Because maybe you have MetaMask on your phone that you had with you, but your house burned down. And you have no way to access your stuff because you need to sign the transaction using your hardware wallet, or at least have a copy of your seed phrase so you can stick it into another hardware wallet. And you don't know what your seed phrase is because it burned down, right? And even if it was stamped in metal and you're digging through the rubble, now the metal's all melted and you just lost your seed phrase. You're screwed. All right. Well, imagine this. What if you stored your seed phrases in two places? What if you had one buried in the yard? You had one hidden in your house. Heck, maybe just in case, you kept another one at your parents' house. Now the big fear people always say is, oh my gosh, you would never do that. your seed phrase is going to be found. What if somebody finds it at your mom's house? Well, what I'm trying to tell you is what happens if it doesn't matter if somebody finds your seed phrase? What if you're storing your seed phrase in multiple places simply in case one of those places gets robbed or those places burned down or some natural disaster, which, by the way, we've seen in California, thousands and thousands of houses burned to the ground. How many of those people had crypto, had their hardware wallets in their house, and now they're screwed? Who knows, right? This sort of thing does happen. So what I'm saying is you could store your seed phrase in multiple different locations and also not have the fear of what happens if it's found, because you need not only a combination of that seed phrase to access a wallet, but also your hidden passphrases. Now, there's some security things to consider with that. You wouldn't want your hidden passphrases written down or stamped into metal next to your seed phrase, because if it is found, somebody has both of the keys required to access your crypto. They have the seed phrase right next to it. They see, the sky is blue or whatever. And they're like, oh, that must be a hidden passphrase. Look, this idiot put the two together right next to each other. And you're going to get drained. So you would want to keep your hidden passphrases that you use. Keep those completely separate from your seed phrases that you've stored. And although this may at first sound controversial, many people will tell you store them in a different media form, right? So if your seed phrase is stored physically, how would you store your hidden passphrases, which is basically the second set of keys to access a wallet? Well, you could store those digitally. Well, and then people say, well, what happens if you get hacked? Well, first off, remember all the people that are putting their seed phrase directly in MetaMask. What if those people get hacked, right? Which is very rare, right? But what if those people get hacked and they had typed their seed phrase on a Microsoft Word document or something in their computer? Well, guess what? If you were to do that, you store the second key, which is the hidden phrase. If you were to store that in a digital fashion in an encrypted folder, the likelihood of that ever getting found out is slim. But also, if somebody hacked into your device through encrypted folders and found a phrase that said the sky is blue, they would have no idea what that means. And they would also not, first off, they wouldn't even know what that means. No matter what the phrase is, it could be anything wild. Bowling is boring, right? It could be anything. It could be a single word. It could be a sentence. It could be a whole nother seed phrase. But somebody finds that. They have no idea what that is, and it doesn't even do anything by itself. That same person would have to hack your device, get through all these encrypted folders, find a hidden passphrase, know what it even is, and then say to themselves, oh, this must be a hidden passphrase for a seed phrase that goes to a seed phrase. Oh, let me now go physically search. And they have no idea where you've hidden your seed phrases. It could be drilled in a hole in the side of a tree. It could be buried in the ground. It could be at your grandma's house. It could be anywhere, right? It could be on a piece of paper in a book. They have no idea. For those, the likelihood and chances of somebody doing and acquiring both parts to access your wallet is like zero, right? I don't think it's ever happened in the history of crypto, and it's highly unlikely for somebody to be able to grab the digital where you've stored and safeguarded, in case you lose your memory, your hidden passphrases. You've done that digitally. And then the physical part of that, the seed phrase, is stored in a couple different places physically. For somebody to get both halves of that and put them together and then access your wallets and steal your stuff is like zero. All right. So hardware wallets can be extremely secure, especially when you get into the realm of these things called hidden passphrases. All right. Now, there's other methods to very securely store your crypto. And those things are called multi-signature safes. So it's essentially an interface, or people call a wallet, where you can interact with your crypto. But these interfaces require multiple seed phrases, multiple entities to sign to conduct a transaction. All right. So, for example, you as the person who creates a safe says, I want two other people to sign a transaction before it can clear, right? So you go talk to your wife and you say, hey, I'm going to make you a signer on our funds, right? And I'm also going to be a signer. And maybe 2 out of 3, right? And then you put your kids on there too, right? And so you tell your oldest kid, hey, your crypto, hey, I need you to be, you're going to be a signer on transactions to access our family trust fund, okay? For example. So now you have your wife, you have yourself, you have your oldest kid, or maybe you have all the kids on there, which could get risky when it's like you only need 2 signatures, right? So think very carefully who you want to, how many, what the threshold is going to be. Do you want 2 out of 3 wallets that you've assigned in there to be able to conduct a transaction? Do you want 3 out of 5? Do you want 7 out of 10? Like, that's all up to you in there, right? And the most common thing is probably, hey, 2 out of 3, right? Now, any one of those people can conduct a transaction. They can go to do a swap. They can go to do a withdraw or a send or whatever, and they sign it. And then the other users then also have to go in there, and they'll see that the transaction is awaiting for their approval or rejection. Those other users say, oh, well, this transaction, what's this all about? Oh, yeah, my wife told me about that. She's withdrawing, $500 for the crypto. And you sign the transaction, and it goes through, okay? Because 2 out of 3 signers just signed it. And the third signer, who also would have been able to sign had they got to it first, it just disappears, because the transaction just went through. But if you miss it, you wait, and your oldest kid, who's one of the signers, says, oh, what's this? Oh, something about withdrawing crypto. Hey, Mom, there's some sort of transaction on there. What's going on? And Mom says, oh, yeah, go ahead and sign that for me. Your dad's taking a nap right now, right? He said, oh, okay. So this kid signs it, and the transaction goes through. 2 out of 3 signers, transaction clears, right? So this method of storing crypto is called multi-signature. Some people use this on teams. So if a company or an entity, a crypto team or something, has some sort of, say, treasury or something, you don't want one single guy to be able to have the keys to the castle.
He might go rogue, right?
He might go rogue. He might just disappear one day, right? Well, you could say, well, let's get multi-signature. It requires, and you never want both. Let's say there's only 2 of you. You don't want to do 2 out of 2. If one of you dies, you're screwed. Okay, you always want to have some extra additional party in there that can step in the event that somebody dies on a team, right? So if there's 2 of you that need to have access to the treasury, you may want to consider a trusted third person who doesn't necessarily, if they tried to start their own transaction, you would see that and just reject it. And then you would just remove them. You'd be like, why are you doing that? You're only there to be the third person in case we need you, by the way. Right? But you would find a trusted third person. You would tell that person, look, I'm going to assign you as a signing authority. And if something ever happens to the 2 of us, the other one and you can still conduct a transaction out of there. You can still do what you need to. It's almost like a designated
But let's play devil's advocate. Let's say
A designated survivor, you can almost say.
Last man standing. Let's say that two people do go for the 2-man option, right?
Yeah.
Would a workaround be that they both set it up from a wallet that they don't have that much crypto in, and they both give each other the seed phrases to that wallet, so just in case one of them dies?
No, because then one person could just sign both transactions using 2 different wallets. Like if you told me your seed phrase to your signing wallet, and then I'm the other guy, and I'm already the other signing wallet.
But this is someone. Let's say you're doing business, right, and you trust this person. You're not trying to stop them from stealing your crypto. You're trying to stop maybe someone attacking you or them, right, and getting. So it's like another line of defense. Does that make sense?
So you could, if you really, really trusted that person. Let's say it's like
my brother.
Let's say it's your brother or your spouse or something, right? And recognizing that you and your spouse already have access to your bank accounts together, so it's like, okay, my spouse can have access to the crypto, and I can have access to the crypto, and it's fine, right? In that event, could you have a 2 out of 3 signer, or even a 2 out of 2 signer, and both of you have both seed phrases? Yes, you could. If like there's some risk there, because if somebody were to find those seed phrases, if somebody breaks into your house and they find even one of those seed phrases, okay, and they're stealing your crypto, whatever's on there, maybe there's not much on there, but they happen to take your seed phrase, they make a wallet, they're using your seed phrase, and they log into safe.powercity.io or Gnosis Safe or whatever. They see, oh, this wallet is a signing wallet. I wonder what the other signing wallets are. And they also stole your other seed phrase. They're like, ooh, this is also a wallet that's attached to a safe.
Okay.
Oh, jackpot. These are both signing wallets in here, right? So there is some risk there, because if you've shared your seed phrase with somebody else and they've shared it with you, the likelihood of you storing those in a way that separates them a lot, like there's just a little bit of risk there. But it can be done, and it keeps. Who does it keep at bay?
In case you got one wallet.
It's like the whole idea is, if somebody breaks into your house or clunks you over the head and they gain access to one seed phrase, they can't access the funds because it requires somebody else to sign. So if you're sharing seed phrases, does that whole safety go out the window then? Somebody can clunk you over the head and they have both seed phrases and they got your stuff.
It depends if you stored them in different places. I guess the underlying lesson here is, with whatever we always harp on about crypto, right, is obviously be safe. But this is another level of that, because like you said, if you do it properly with multi-sigs, 3 or 4 people, but you need at least 2 or 3 to sign a transaction, right, in case something happens to someone.
Right.
It's going to be a lot safer than just having like you said, your seed phrase on paper for your soft wallet, MetaMask or something like that, right?
Right. Now things can get even safer, right? So remember I was talking about hardware wallets? Well, you can use hardware wallets. You can use hardware wallets to sign the transactions, for each of the signing wallets. So somebody has a seed phrase, they stick it in their hardware wallet, and the wallet it generates is assigned as a signer. Okay. And that person continues to be able to sign transactions that pop up in their safe, in their multi-sig, using their hardware wallet, or even their passphrase hidden hardware wallet, right? So there's multiple layers of security that you can tack on top of these safes, but it starts to get a little ridiculous when you have a multi-signature safe and then each user has a hardware wallet with a hidden passphrase inside of it, and it's like, wow, is that like too secure? I have no idea. right? It's all for you to decide what your level of security needs to be.
Definitely. But it's good. Another option, more utility. As you can see here, safe.powercity.io. I've got a video on our YouTube channel, our latest video, that shows you how to set it up. Very simple. Basically, you paste in the wallets that you want to use, and then obviously you choose the amount of signers for a threshold. But like Jesse said, if you're doing multiple, then it'd be good to have some sort of wiggle room, meaning if one passes away, you can still sign those transactions. Anyway, that has been our masterclass. We've done some more stuff on safety. We know that you're hot on safety, but obviously the underlying theme here is be safe, right? With crypto, we've seen people get hacked. It was a few years ago. Do you remember that guy got hacked? That Hex.
Yeah, you know, just thinking back to that story, to me, it felt like it had to have been some sort of internal job, right? That older gentleman,
that's what
he went away on a vacation. If I recall, his like grandchildren were at his house at that time, where I think he admitted storing his seed phrase, and like while in the airport or something, his crypto went missing. So if I recall, like he thought that it had to have been some sort of hack at the airport because he had MetaMask on his phone or something. But in my opinion, I think it was probably much simpler than that. You know, as much as it sucks, you know, people are not honest, even sometimes your own family. You know, did one of his grandchildren just grab his seed phrase out of wherever he had it and say, I know what crypto's all about. I'm young. I'm a teenager. Man, I can be rich, and just stole his own grandpa's stuff, knowing his grandpa's going to be dead in a handful of years. Who knows? Who knows? If these things happen, you have to take precautions to protect yourself. And that's why we released safe.powercity.io, which is a Gnosis front end, essentially. Free to use for anybody who wants to use it on Pulse.
Well, there's many ways to be safe, and this is another level for sure. You've got hardware wallets, like you said. You've got making metal backups of your seed phrases. But I think this is the first thing people need to learn when they come to crypto, you know, hardware wallets and multi-sigs, because then you're protecting yourself from yourself, right? Just leaving it lying around your seed phrase and someone getting their hands on it, who knows? But
right.
Good to have more utility on the chain for people to use. Thanks for your time, Jesse. I know you're a busy man. I will let you go, and we will see you next week.
All right. See y'all. Thanks.
Thanks for watching, guys. And for any of our live dApps, including the link to the safe.powercity.io, you can find that in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.